Next is village administration. The Cholas had a well-developed system of local self-government. So the Cholas, they have developed their local self-government in a very organized way. The Ur and the Sabha or Mahasabha were the two assemblies. So what were the two different types of assemblies present in the Chola dynasty? Was the Ur or the Sabha or the Mahasabha? Inscription tell us that Ur was a general assembly of all classes of people who owned land within the village. So according to the different types of inscription which were found during the Chola dynasty, which belonged to the Chola dynasty and which the historians had excavated, they said that the Ur was the general assembly where the different types of people who were present in this assembly who had their own land within the village. In contrast, the Sabha was an assembly found in village where Brahmins own all the land as Brahmadeya grant. So in the Sabhas were only the Brahmins people who have their own land, as they were known as Brahmadeya grants. As the Chola rulers granted land to a large number of Brahmins, a number of Brahmin settlement emerged in the Chola dynasty. So during the Chola dynasty, a large number of lands were given to the Brahmins. So that's why during the Chola dynasty, Brahmins were having the large number of lands during the Chola dynasty, and their settlements were also emerged in the Chola dynasty. Parantaka's inscription found inside the temple of Uttaramerur describe the functioning of the Sabha. So how we come to know about the functioning of the Sabha? With the help of Parantaka's inscription. It operated through committees. It had different committees to look after various aspects of land administration, including temples, gardens, irrigations, assessment of land revenue, maintenance of law and order. So all this information where we get from? We get from the Parantaka's inscription. The Nagaram, as the name suggests, was an assembly found in town and city. So this is the name of the assembly which were found only in the towns and city. Its members were mainly traders, merchants, and sometimes artisans. So who were the members of the Nagaram? It was traders, merchants, and artisans. The Nagaram played an important role in urban administration. Next is economy. The Cholas promoted both inland and overseas trade and commerce. The Coromandel and Malabar coast served as the centers of India's trade with Southeast Asia. So during the Chola dynasty, they also had done their business through overseas trade. So even and the most famous coast was where Coromandel and the Malabar coast, and with the help of Coromandel and Malabar coast, they have extend their areas to the Southeast Asia also. To fix the government's share of land revenue, an elaborate land survey was carried out. So in order to fix the government's land revenue or tax, a huge amount of land survey was carried out. Taxes were also collected from toll on trade profession and from the plunder of neighboring territories. So all these, or you can say from these areas, different types of tax were collected. Next is temples. The Cholas ruler built many large temples which were the center of cultural life. So during the Chola dynasty, temples were made and it plays an important role during those times. Besides being spiritual center, they also served as place for other activities such as ceremonial dance performed by the Devadasis. So in the temples, not only the worship was done, but also ceremonial dance were performed by the Devadasis. The temples was a miniature city or a palace with living rooms for priests. So in the temples, the priest rooms were available where the priests were living. The temples usually enjoy revenue-free grants and domination from the donation from the wealthy merchants. So the temples, they enjoy the revenue free grants. All the people, they used to come and give extra monies and different types of gold, silver to the temple as a donation, and also from and who gave this donation? From the wealthy merchants. They give the donation to the temples. The style of temple architecture was known as Dravida, as it was confined to South India. So in the South India, you will see Dravida style of temple architecture, especially in the South India. The building of story upon story above the chief deity room, called Garbha Griha as the main feature of the Dravida style of temple building. So in the South India, if you will go, you will see there the building structures are, for example, there is story after story like this. This type of structure you will see, and these type of structures are only present in South India, and it is known as Dravida style of temple building. Next is Chola inscription. Our main source of information on the Chola dynasty are the inscription of the period. So with the help of inscription, we come to know what are the different types of activities which were taken in the different periods. So similarly in the Chola period also, with the help of inscription, we got this information. The Tamil copper plate inscription served not only as title deeds of land grant but also as a record of the conquest and events. So a copper plate inscription was not only used for writing the different types of titles of land grants which were done by the different kings, but also what are the different types of conquest, or what are the different types of battles which the rulers had done during the Chola period were also written in the copper plate. The copper plate inscription are actually long document engraved or embossed on thin sheet of copper which are then punched and tied together. They record grants of land and bear the royal seal to indicate their authenticity. They also contain detail about the land, wells, streets, canals, rivers, pastures, etc., types of taxes and fines, and all other rights enjoyed by the guarantee. So all these informations were all written in the copper plate. At times they contain royal genealogies as well, that means farman orders were also mentioned in the copper plate. Inscription on stone pillars and temples walls, such as the ones inside the Brihadeshwara temple at Thanjavur, are useful in reconstructing the history of the period. So even in the wall also, different types of wall or pillars, different types of informations were written, and one of the best example is Brihadeshwara temple, which is at Thanjavur. We get to know about local self-government in the Chola Empire primarily from the detail provided in the Chola king Pratanka's one Uttaramaniya temple inscription of 919 CE and 1921 CE. These inscriptions describe the village assembly in great detail. So all these information or all these inscription plays an important role, and it helps us to understand what are the different types of activities were done during the Chola period. These inscriptions shed light on the socio-economic life of the medieval period. Some of these also show the royal seal of the dynasty. So these inscriptions not only give us information about that particular period, but also about the different types of royal seal and different types of socio-economic life or during that period is also written. Marks of Mashon on sometimes found on these inscriptions. The inscription we read here tell us about the conquest of King Raja of the Chola dynasty and the gifts made to the temple. So in the inscription, the different types of areas which were captured by the King Raja is also mentioned, and even different types of gifts which were given to the temples by the King Raja is also mentioned in different inscriptions. The systematic way of giving donation inform us about the organizational capabilities of the ruler. So we can see that during those periods the king used to give a large amount of donation to the temple. Names of the officers like those who collected revenue, managed the temple, aided and advised the king are also mentioned in the inscription. So in the inscription, the name of the different officers were also mentioned, just like those who collect revenue, that is taxes, and those who manage the temples, that is the name of the priest, who give information to the king and advice to the different officers who give advice to the king. Their name were also mentioned in the inscription. Land grants were given to the Brahmins either individually or collectively. So even the king used to give the grant or the donation to the Brahmins, whether they were given only to one person or different types of person who belong to the Brahmin category.